Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Fred and you are watching Cooking with Dr. Fred, and we returned to the Caribbean edition. So I was very surprised when I went to the store the other day and I actually found cauliflower. We often don't have cauliflower, almost never. So I was very lucky to get that, and it also adds to my great composting pile, which I love to throw into there. But I figured I always like making a good cauliflower mashed potato. But everybody's done that for you, and it's kind of very standard and very simple. So I thought what we might like to try is Caribbeaning it up, making it a little bit different. So what we have here are these, what they call seasoning peppers. These aren't particularly hot, but they give a really nice background flavor. So what I'm gonna try to do, and this is the first time I've ever done it, so we're gonna be doing it together. What I'm gonna try to do is, I'm gonna chop up a bunch of these. I'm gonna saute them in butter. Then I'm gonna put them in the Cuisinart with the cauliflower. And then we'll see if it gives it a richness or a depth to it. Maybe add in a little smoked paprika as well to give it a little zhuzh, shall we say. So that's what I'm about to do. So I'm going to now chop up the cauliflower. You don't need to see that. I'm gonna chop up the cauliflower. I'm gonna chop up the seasoning peppers, and I'll show you what that all looks like before I put the cauliflower into boiling water, and we'll put the seasoning peppers into the fry pan. I certainly wish that I had some garlic, but I don't have any garlic at home, or I would have sauteed some garlic in here as well. I have some onion. You could also saute a little onion in there. That seems a little much for one simple little tiny head of cauliflower. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're continuing on this journey of trying a new cauliflower mash recipe. So what I've done is cut up the cauliflower. As you can see, I've cut up the cauliflower, and I cut it in big chunks when I'm doing a mash because it doesn't really have to be, because you're gonna put it through a food processor anyway, so it really doesn't have to be cut so finely. When I'm doing something like a cauliflower potato salad or something like that, I'll cut it up much more fine and get rid of a lot of the thicker bits because you don't really need it when you're doing that. So that's those, and they're in this pan, and we'll boil them. It'll be great. And then the seasoning, these are what the seasoning peppers look like. They're small. So what we're going to do is chop the top off. You can't see me because I can't figure out how to get the camera right, but that's fine. So you just top the top off, then you open it up like any other pepper. Please don't try this at home, it's dangerous. Put it on a cutting board, which is what I'm doing down there. And then I'm going to clean out the pits and put it into the compost pile. And that's it for now. We'll be back once these are sauteed. While we were off camera, I thought about something else that I wanted to add to this newfound cauliflower mash recipe that we're making up out of our heads. Which is how I like to cook. You just make it up. If you have good ingredients, you can always make a good meal. So what I wanted to do with this was add some ginger. And I honestly don't know where my ginger went. I know I had like I had a little bit left because I love cooking with ginger when I'm down here because it's so nice and fresh and yummy, and it's so different from the ginger we get back at home. It's soft, comes out of the earth. It doesn't feel old because it's not old. And I don't know where it is, so otherwise I'd be sauteing with that. But there you go, throw ginger in if you like it. If you've never had fresh ginger, you don't know what you're missing. So let me bring you over here to the stove. So I'm gonna tilt the camera down. So as you can see, there's the cauliflower boiling. And the peppers haven't quite started sauteing yet, but they will in a minute. So I'm just going to finish with them. Finish sauteing this. Probably the cauliflower will cook for about 6 minutes or so. I'll saute the peppers for about 3 minutes, and then everything will go into the food processor. And I'll show you that part. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, everyone. So the cauliflower is in the strainer, and the peppers are completely sauteed. I did never find that ginger, which has me a little upset. I'm wondering if some bird flew into my kitchen and ran off with it. I hope not, but in any event, we're not using it. So let's do that part. So I'm just gonna come over here. The cauliflower is all strained. As you can see, I'm gonna swing around here to my food processor. And we're going to, I'm a little far away from you, but never from your heart. And I don't think on this way, if you're doing it the other way with a video, you can actually zoom in with the new phone. But I think I put too much in here. Let's just do this for a minute. Okay. So let's chop it. I always like to pulse it a little bit because it's very, you know, the stuff that's on top. The stuff that's on top gets to the bottom. So now we have plenty more room to put the last remaining bits of cauliflower. Oh, and I should mention, you know, this dish currently, as I made it, is vegetarian, but it could be vegan by just switching out the butter that I use to saute the peppers in. You could use macadamia nut oil, my favorite. So that's a way of switching this out and making it a vegan meal experience for you. So let's get let's get these peppers. We'll pour the peppers in. All right. Again, another one of my mother's great cast iron skillets. Love her for many things, but especially for that. Not especially, that doesn't sound right. You know what I mean. Okay, here we go again. Grind away. Okay, so what you may have to do is push things down from the side. Because that's, you know, that's how things work in a food processor. You just have to push them, keep pushing them back down where they belong. Smells delicious. Oh, I'll do that, you know, I will add the seasoning later. Let me just put this on. Sorry for the loud noise. Now I like to food process it a lot. It kind of saves you the trouble of having to put it back in the oven, because sometimes I'll do that as well. You take the cauliflower out and you put it in the oven to dry it because there's a lot of water that'll get kept up with the cauliflower. But it doesn't appear that way, so that's something you can just play by ear. If it seems a little moist, throw it in the oven at 325 for like 5 or 10 minutes just to get that moisture out. And you could spread it over a cookie sheet, or you could spread it, you know, in a small pan, whatever you want to use. It doesn't really matter. That's the beauty of cooking the Dr. Fred way, because it'll all come out good if you have good ingredients. So let's put this into a bowl and see what we've got. Yeah, I guess we could use a bowl. I could use a plate, but we'll use a bowl instead. All right, so here we go. We're gonna take this out. Yeah, the consistency looks perfect. I'll bring the consistency closer to you in a minute. Oh, the peppers give it a very nice flavor. But it really needs salt, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's put this here. The consistency is just beautiful. All right. Yeah, all right. I'll scoop the rest out of there. Well, no, I'm gonna do it now. I'll show you what to do. You get one of these, sort of, I'll bring this closer because you probably can't see it. You get one of these little pastry things, and you can smush it all out of the Cuisinart much better. See how it all comes out like that? A wooden spoon just wouldn't be able to do that. Sometimes plastic comes in handy. As much as I hate to admit it, and you know how much I don't like plastic. Although this is plastic too. Oh well, what can you do? It's not a perfect world, but we try to do the best that we can. It truly is delicious. So where did I put the salt? I'm gonna add a little salt. And again, salt is your friend, people. It is not your enemy, remember that. Now, I'm not saying you should go and have, I'm not saying you should go out and eat fast food and processed foods and get your salt from that way. But if you're getting your salt from the salt shaker, because there is no other salt in this food, and then we're just gonna add some crushed pepper. And I am gonna add a little smidge of butter. You don't have to, but that's just me. I'm a little indulgent that way. So I'm just gonna add just a little bit of butter, maybe like a quarter of a tablespoon, something like that. So really, I'm adding in this much butter, just a little, like less than a pat of butter. And then I'm just gonna take my wooden spoon again, if I can find it, and we're just gonna smush it all around. And oh, you can't see that, sorry, we're just smushing it around. And it looks like mashed potatoes, only it is healthy and good for you and not a potato, and this will not make you fat. So there you go. You can add jalapeno, you can add whatever you want to this dish. The beauty of cooking the Dr. Fred way. I hope you enjoy it. This could be a side dish. If you're a vegetarian or vegan, it could be a main dish. You could add some nuts to it to give it a little protein. You could also add in a little beans if you were so inclined, if you're going down the vegetarian route. I, of course, will probably have this with a nice piece of fish from the barbecue. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Cooking with Dr. Fred, the Caribbean edition. Thank you for tuning in.